Hey everybody, SamTheThomasFan1 is back with a new episode of my TNF Season 17 reviews. Now I know what you're thinking, wow Sam, you're being really calm today, which is conveniently the theme of today's episode. Calm down Caitlin. If you haven't seen the episode yet and don't want any spoilers, the link to it is in the description box. So with further me talking, here we go. It was nearing the end of a very busy day on Sodor. At Ulstead Castle Station, Caitlin was picking up our passengers to return on the mainland. The camera shot of the Ulstead Castle Station was excellently viewed. Here, I'll show you the picture. Wow, it looks fancy, doesn't it? Caitlin was about to leave the station when something happens and the guard blows his whistle and waves his flag. Caitlin wonders what has happened, and it seems that her tender brakes are locked on. Oops, how did that happen? Caitlin had to keep waiting, and like any impatient engine, she didn't like to wait. Welcome to the club, Caitlin. She waited, and waited, and waited, until it was midnight. It really took that long to fix her tender brakes? It must have been really broken. Though you'd think they'd give an explanation on why it broke in the first place so you would understand why it took so long. Caitlin was ready to go, but by the time she started it was already dark. Caitlin hurried back along the main line through Henry's Tunnel. Henry's Tunnel? Wow, it looks a lot better on this season, especially at night time. Then Caitlin saw the biggest town bridge up ahead with a barrier and the back controller in front of it. We hear Caitlin's first words of the season. Oh no, what now? Her voice sounds somewhat like a sophisticated and more better English version of Emily's. Great voice for her, I say. The back controller tells Caitlin that the biggest town bridge is closed for maintenance, and it won't open again until morning, meaning she and her passengers have to spend the night on the island. The passengers are disappointed by this, though I'm confused. Isn't it a dream come true to be staying on the island of Sodor? Obviously not everyone's dream, but it certainly is a dream for Caitlin. She liked the idea, which makes sense, although I am a bit disappointed for not seeing the mainland. Wait a minute, if there was a bridge to the mainland, how come no one's used it? My guess is they're tree huggers. Caitlin asks the Fat Controller if she can sleep at Timber Sheds. The Fat Controller says he supposes she can. Caitlin cheers and blows her whistle really loudly, and just like the Fat Controller and the name of the episode says, calm down, Caitlin. The Fat Controller says that on the island of Sodor, people like to get their sleep. You'd think Caitlin would know that, wouldn't you? Caitlin tried to be calm and quiet as her passengers got off her went into the station to sleep for the night. Isn't that a good idea to sleep in the station for the night? Isn't it like having a sleepover on the railroad? Some joke. By the time Caitlin was ready to leave, she had forgotten what the Fat Controller had said to her. Oh no! Caitlin will get into trouble if she doesn't keep calm and consider others. When Caitlin arrives at Timmer's shed, she immediately wakes up Gordon when she declares loudly how fun the turntable is. I don't think the turntable is fun to play in. Someone do a joke about engines and turntables. Caitlin explains to Gordon that she is to spend the night at the sheds. Gordon warns Caitlin that she must stay quiet if she wants to spend the night at Tidmouth Sheds. Just as Gordon shuts his eyes again, Caitlin begins to loudly explain about how excited she is and blows her whistle to wake him up and make him back up. I would say, Gordon, instead of telling Caitlin to stay quiet, why not tell her to sleep in one of the sidings? Just then, Percy pulls up and asks what Caitlin is doing at the sheds. Thomas sleepily explains that Caitlin is to spend the night at the sheds, and Percy kindly offers her his berth. Well, that is a nice thing that Percy did for Caitlin to let her stay in his berth. Caitlin asks where Percy is. Thomas explains that Percy has taken the mail train. Caitlin thinks the mail run sounds amazing, which gives Gordon an idea to get rid of Caitlin. Gordon tells Caitlin to ask Percy if she can take over his mail run for the night. Are there any mail cars left for Caitlin to take instead of 2 or 3 of them? She'll be strong enough to take them all. Caitlin asks Percy if she can take the mail. Percy is reluctant to give up his favorite job, but for the sake of a bit of peace and quiet, he agrees. Percy warns Caitlin to be considerate to other people who are trying to sleep. Wow, a new member of the night train crew, Caitlin the Streamlined Engine. Caitlin clatters noisily along with the post train. She is too excited to remember Percy's warning. After waking several people up, she returns to Tim's shed where she wakes Percy up to tell him about the run, which annoys all of the engines. Now Caitlin should have whispered, "Percy, are you awake? I want to talk to you about the mail run." That way she won't wake the other engines. Henry tells Caitlin that she can take the flying kipper. Gordon, of course, thinks it's a great idea, and so does Caitlin. Henry tries to tell Caitlin to be considerate, but before he can even finish his sentence, Caitlin is puffing loudly away. Oh great, here we go again. Caitlin excitedly roars through the fishing village in Walsworth with the flying kipper. Then she passes the animal park where she wakes up the animals. There's a comment that I looked up on Calm Down Caitlin saying that someone thought that Caitlin would have an accident with the flying kipper. What would happen if an engine takes the flying kipper anyway? Oh, take a guess from back in season 1. Duh! Anyone who has a Trackmaster Caitlin, do part of a remake clip of Calm Down Caitlin, and maybe part of where Caitlin might have a train crash. Soon the sun is shining and the sun is rising, and the beautiful sight makes Caitlin even more excited. And I'm like, hey, it's morning already, and Caitlin might have to take her passengers back to the mainland now. By the time Caitlin arrives back at Tim's shed, she is extremely tired. Caitlin reverses into Edward's vacant berth and is just about to rest when the Fat Controller arrives. Where is Edward anyway? One moment, he was there with the engines, but then the next he wasn't. What could have happened to him? The Fat Controller is very angry and tells Percy off for being too noisy with the mail run, and Henry for being loud with the flying kipper. Percy and Henry tell the Fat Controller that they did not do those jobs last night, which makes Caitlin confess that she was the disturbance. So Tom and Hat is cross with Caitlin for not listening to his warning. Caitlin explains about how excited she was, and the Fat Controller is not quite so angry with her. Well, I would say for Caitlin that was the right thing she did. She told the Fat Controller what she had done. The Fat Controller explains that the Bickerstown Bridge has been fixed, and that if Caitlin wants to be really useful, she can take her passengers back home. Caitlin puffs quietly and calmly to fetch her passengers. Great, the bridge is fixed, and now Caitlin can take her passengers back. While waiting at Bickerstown Bridge, Caitlin is so tired that she falls asleep. Looks like someone's Sleeping Beauty. Have a laugh about that. Fortunately, Connor streams past and wakes her up. Caitlin is left wondering if staying up all night had been such a good idea. After all. To me, I don't think that staying up all night is not a good idea. If I was that tired, I'd stay in my bedroom. 4 stars out of 5 for Calm Down Caitlin. That's what I should give. This is SamTheThomasFan1's saying, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next Thomas and Friends Season 17 review.